Have you ever stood in the pet food aisle, staring at a wall of cat food bags, feeling totally overwhelmed? You're not alone. All those fancy words, beautiful pictures of fresh salmon and roasted chicken, it's designed to appeal to us, the humans buying the food. But what are we actually feeding our cats? Today, we're going on a deep dive. We're going to pull back the curtain on cat food marketing and learn how to read a label like a pro, so you can make the best choice for your furry best friend. First up, let's talk about the biggest trick in the book, marketing versus reality. That bag with a picture of a wild lynx hunting, it's selling an idea, an emotion. The food inside might be great, or it might be full of corn. The beautiful, glossy photos of whole ingredients. They don't always represent what's actually in the kibble. The most important thing to remember is to ignore the front of the bag, at least for now. All the real, crucial information is on the back, in the ingredient list and the guaranteed analysis. That's where the truth lies, so let's flip that bag over and look at the ingredient list. This is the single most important part of the label. Ingredients are listed by weight, from heaviest to lightest, asterisk before asterisk they are cooked. This is a key detail. Fresh meats like deboned chicken or fresh salmon contain a lot of water, around 70%. When the food is cooked into dry kibble, most of that water evaporates. So, while deboned chicken might be listed first, after cooking, its actual contribution to the final product might be less than the second or third ingredient, which could be a dry ingredient like chicken meal or a grain. This brings us to a clever tactic called ingredient splitting. Let's say a company wants to make it look like meat is the primary ingredient, but they're actually using a lot of, say, peas. Instead of listing peas as one big ingredient high up on the list, they might list it as pea protein, pea flour, and pea fiber. Separately, each of these weighs less than the main meat ingredient, so they appear lower down the list. But if you were to add them all together, you might find that peas are the real star of the show. So when you're reading the list, keep an eye out for different forms of the same ingredient, like corn gluten meal, and corn flour. It's a way to disguise how much of a cheaper filler ingredient is really in there. Now, let's talk about the salt divider. This is a handy little landmark on the ingredient list. In most pet foods, salt is added at about 1% of the total formula. This means that any ingredient listed after salt makes up less than 1% of the food. So all those amazing sounding superfoods you see advertised on the front of the bag, blueberries, kale, cranberries, yucca extract, if they're listed after salt, they're present in tiny, almost insignificant amounts. They're not there to provide major nutritional benefits. They're there for marketing, to make the ingredient list look more appealing to you. Okay, let's move on to the guaranteed analysis panel. This is where you find the percentages of protein, fat, fiber, and moisture. But here's the catch. You can't directly compare the protein level of a dry food to a wet food. A can of wet food might say 10% protein, while a bag of kibble says 35%. It looks like the kibble is way better, right? Not so fast. We need to calculate what's called the dry matter basis. It sounds complicated, but it's simple math. You take the percentage of moisture and subtract it from 100, that gives you the percentage of dry matter. Then you divide the protein percentage by the dry matter percentage and multiply by 100. Let's do an example. That wet food with 10% protein has 78% moisture. So 100 minus 78 is 22% dry matter. Now 10 divided by 22 times 100 gives us about 45% protein on a dry matter basis. The dry food with 35% protein might have 10% moisture. So 100 minus 10 is 90% dry matter. 35 divided by 90 times 100 is about 39% protein on a dry matter basis. Suddenly, that wet food is looking a lot higher in protein. Always do this calculation when you're comparing different types of food. Next, let's decode the product name itself. The name on the front of the bag actually legally regulated and tells you a lot about how much of the main ingredient is in the food. If the name is simply chicken cat food, it means that chicken must make up at least 95% of the total product, not counting the water added for processing. If you add the water back in, it's 70%. This rule is why you rarely see simple names like this on kibble. It's mostly for high-quality wet foods. Then there's the dinner rule. If the name is chicken dinner, chicken entree, platter, or formula, the named ingredient, chicken in this case, only has to be 25% of the product. The food could be 75% other stuff. If the label says cat food with chicken, the word with is the key. This means it only has to contain 3% chicken. And finally, if it says chicken flavor, it just needs to have enough chicken in it to be detectable by taste. It could be an infinitesimally small amount. See how the name itself tells a story. Now, for those buzzwords. Premium, gourmet, super premium. Guess what? They have no legal definition. They mean absolutely nothing. It's pure marketing. A company can slap gourmet on the cheapest, lowest quality food if they want to. The word natural does have a loose definition. It generally means the ingredients come from plant, animal, or mine sources and haven't been produced by chemical synthesis. But it doesn't mean the food is high quality or healthy. Holistic is another one with no legal definition. It sounds great, implying it treats the whole body, but it's just marketing flair and human grade? While some companies do use ingredients from the human food supply chain, the term itself isn't regulated for the final pet food product. Once ingredients enter a pet food plant, they are no longer legally considered human grade. So take these words with a very large grain of salt. Finally, and this is incredibly important, look for the nutritional adequacy statement. This is usually a small block of text near the ingredient list, and it's one of the most vital pieces of information on the entire package. It will say something like, "This food is formulated to meet the nutritional levels established by the AAFCO cat food nutrient profiles," and then it will specify a life stage, like adult maintenance, growth and reproduction for kittens and pregnant cats, or all life stages. AAFCO is the Association of American Feed Control Officials. This statement is your assurance that the food is complete and balanced for your cat's specific needs. If a food doesn't have this statement, it should only be fed as a treat or a supplement, not as a primary diet. A food for all life stages might sound good, but it's formulated for the most demanding stage, which is kittens. It might be too high in calories for your less active adult or senior cat. Phew, that was a lot of information, but now you have the tools to be a cat food detective. Remember to ignore the flashy front of the bag, head straight for the ingredient list and the guaranteed analysis on the back. Check for ingredient splitting, use the salt divider as a guide, and calculate the dry matter basis to compare foods accurately. Understand what the product name really means and look past the empty marketing buzzwords. Most importantly, always find the AAFCO statement to ensure the food is complete and balanced for your cat's life stage. Making an informed choice can make a huge difference in your cat's health and happiness for years to come. Thank you so much for watching and for being such a dedicated cat parent. If you found this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more tips on how to give your cat the best life possible. See you in the next one.